it's Travel Jailer and we are back in the Kalahari. Heading to the Kalahari once again, one of our favorite places in South Africa to visit insofar as national parks are concerned. True to form, we've had a couple of problems with the car, which is not unusual. The wild dog is a bit long in the tooth here. Our bracket that holds sort of switches that turn the turbo on has broken and come loose, and in the process one of the vacuum tubes, sort of rubber tubes, has come off and gotten burnt on the exhaust.
This thing was on fire. It was against the exhaust and it was flaming.
Managed to snip it, put it back on. Everything looks like it's working according to instrumentation, but it's actually not working. Can't feel the power of the turbo. So not sure what's going on with that. We're now doing about 110 kilometers an hour. That's kind of the maximum speed we can do. And we're right on the edge of the amount of time we need to get to the gate and still drive through to Nossob. So we are right on the edge. Drama as usual. What would it be without a bit of drama? And then we got a phone call from someone in the car who was not in the car, whom we had managed to leave behind in Uppington.
You look familiar. Sorry. It's a good thing you had your. It's a good thing you had your phone.
Hopefully we'll still be able to make it to Nossob because we've got 3 hours basically, and that includes getting through all the admin. So let's see how it goes. They might just tell us no, in which case I don't know what we're going to do. They were very reluctant to let us through, but my significant other has charmed the pants off of them, and also there's nowhere else to stay because Tyre is fully booked. So we are on our way to Nossob, no stopping, 50 kilometers an hour. We should get there exactly at 6:30. Fingers crossed. Very happy to have made it to Nossob because we love Nossob, and now we've got the opportunity to drive around north of Nossob because that's kind of an area that we seldom really check out because you've got to be staying in Nossob or north of Nossob to really get time to go up and down the northern side, and it is quite a prolific area, so it's a good place to come and explore. First time ever seeing a honey badger in the wild, so that was a really nice experience. We saw a lot of snakes as well, and we're seeing more snakes. Lots of puff adders. We've seen 6 or 7 puff adders already, and hoping to see more, of course. And we've got some nice footage of some as well, really close to the car as they're crossing the road. So that's been really nice to get a good close-up look at a puff adder. It's interesting to see how they move as well. That peristaltic movement of the snake is really cool to see, like close up, and see how those muscles operate and how that snake moves slowly in this straight line. We had a very cool encounter with the Cape Cobra at Nossob camp. That was really nice. That was probably the highlight of this trip, more so than seeing big cats and everything else that comes along with the Kalahari. As always, the Kalahari is fantastic for birding, especially raptors. Lots of pale chanting goshawks, a couple of eagles along the way. Surprisingly though, not as many owls yet as we normally see. We saw an owl at the hide last night. A little bit too dark to film it. Looked like it could have been, I'm not sure. It's an owl, big one. It's the first time we've been at this time of the year. It's April, end of April, just going into May. Normally we're here in December because that's when we can travel a bit more freely. So the first time being at this time of year. Apparently the winter's a great time to come here. A little bit grass, a little bit high now. It's been a long and wet, rainy season, but we're hoping to have a really great experience. It's been great already. It's always great being in the Kalahari. I think that being here in April was a good choice. The temperatures so far have been quite manageable. It hasn't been very hot, but it also hasn't been very cold at night, which it tends to get in the winter in this part of South Africa. Insofar as the temperature is concerned, we're right in the golden zone. The roads are all dirt roads. Some of it's quite sandy, not crazy sandy. You don't need a 4x4 to get through this type of sand. It's not that thick. However, it does get corrugated quite quickly. So even though they flatten it or smooth it out on a regular basis, those corrugations build up fairly quickly in this soft sand. So as you can note out here, there's quite a bit of rattling going on. So if you've got a rattling old 4x4 like this one, then you're either going to lose your mind from all the noise, or you're going to get used to it and enjoy it. It's part of the trip. There aren't many campsites in the Kalahari, which is one of the reasons that we'd like coming here, is that there aren't generally a lot of people here, and it's far away from everywhere, so it's not easy to drive here as a day visitor. What that does mean though is that the campsites are quite far apart. So it takes 3 to 4 hours to drive from one of the main campsites to another one of the main campsites. So Matamata, Tyre, and Nossob, where we've just been staying. So those are fair distances. And one of the things I think that Sandbox could improve is to have a few more bathrooms a bit closer together, because you're going to drive quite a fair distance between bathrooms and campsites. If you're going to go out for the day, be prepared to have to drive for a couple of hours before you come across a bathroom. Most of the action and the main roads are along the two major rivers that go through the park. That's the Nossob and the Alp. When I say rivers, these are rivers that seldom if ever flow. We are in a very arid place here. There is probably subsurface flow. However, these two channels that the rivers make are where the two main roads go through. There's a couple of connecting roads as well. And this is typically where all the action is, especially in the dry season, because this is where the watering holes are, and this is where there's access to water. It's a beautiful landscape. Lots of grassy plains. It's a bit of woodland, but very little. So sparse, woody grasslands. And because of that, you can see quite a bit of the wildlife almost all the time, because there isn't much to obstruct your view. You always see lions when they come to the Kalahari, largely because it is so open, and also when it's really hot in the daytime, they tend to stay in one spot. So if you see lions, or if somebody sees lions, you can go back that spot several times during the day. You're going to see those lions there, because they tend to just chill in the shade and chill. It's quite hot here, difficult to chill, but you'll see them often in the same place once you've spotted them at some stage in the daytime. We've been very fortunate with the Kgalagadi. We've never had a flat tire anywhere inside the park, which is quite difficult because it's really hot and you've got to stop on this sandy road in the middle of the day, in the heat of the day, and change the tire. Unfortunately, we just come across a set of people that do have a wheel that looks like it's burst and it's completely, well, the tire is completely gone. And unfortunately, they don't have the right size wheel spanner to get that wheel off. For the first time ever, we've left the toolbox at home, and for the first time ever, we actually need to have a toolbox. Also had a bit of trouble getting the spare wheel off. We gave them some WD-40 from our rescue kit, which I think helped the situation to get that wheel down. So the best thing we can do for them is to drive onto Tyre and hopefully send some help back. There's a good chance that somebody will be able to help them. They're driving a fairly popular type of vehicle. Wish them the best of luck, and we'll do what we can. If you want to see cheetah, then this is the place to go to. In fact, we brought a friend along specifically because she wanted to see cheetah. Fortunately, we didn't leave her at Upington for very long, and the Kgalagadi fulfilled our promise. We had a great few minutes with one cheetah that walked casually alongside the car for a few minutes on a beautiful sun-drenched road, so that was a very nice sighting. And as luck would have it, our trip drew to a close with yet another cheetah sighting, heard before it was seen in the last light of the fading day. Great to be back in the Kalahari. We're staying at Nossob, and that is our favorite campsite in the Kalahari. Matamata is also great, Tureferen's good as well, but Nossob's kind of cool because it's right in the middle of the park, so it gives you a lot of options going north and south and exploring other parts of the park. The grass is still quite green, so this is the first time we've been here when the grass is green. And we've seen very quickly a couple of lions, but we were rushing to get to Nossob, so we could only just stop for a second, take a quick clip of them and dash on. But we've seen a lot of puff adders, and we had a fantastic sighting of a Cape Cobra in a cage fight with a mongoose and with a set of squirrels, and then a mongoose and a set of squirrels, and that was really cool. The Cape Cobra cage fight was right in Nossob camp, actually just on the outside of the camping sites, so a couple of meters really from those barn fences that make up the campsites. So that was a really nice sighting, and it was fantastic. It happened in the campsite. Obviously it wasn't a cage fight, it was an encounter in nature between adversaries. In the case of the mongoose, it might actually be an encounter between adversary and food, so that was pretty cool.
Is it worth going to the Kgalagadi? It's pretty far from everywhere, so it's pretty much a long drive from everywhere, unless you fly into Uppington and then rent a car, for example. I really like it, and if you haven't been, then I recommend that you do go and experience the Kgalagadi. I think it has a uniqueness about it, and also it's really nice and it's not a crowded national park to go visit, in the sense that there are very few people in the park, and so you get really good sightings. If you like this episode, then hit the like button. Thanks to everyone who subscribed and everyone who leaves comments. It's always great to hear from you guys. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button as well. If you want to leave a tip, there's a buy me a coffee link below, 100% voluntary. And until the next episode, go everywhere, see everything, have a great time.